Today I wanted to talk about chaparral plant adaptation, and I want to review them with you today. If you remember when we started our chaparral unit, we were talking about the flow of energy and matter through an ecosystem, and we focused on the chaparral ecosystem. I brought in a bunch of chaparral plants, and I had you look for patterns and to investigate what you think their adaptations and special characteristics are that help them survive in such a harsh environment. And so then I gave you one of these handouts, if you remember, and you were supposed to do a leaf drawing, margin drawing, leaf texture, color, size, and then the adaptation to drought and high levels of sun. So if you have this, please get it out now as we go through this review. It will be really helpful. I'm going to quickly go through this, so if you feel the pace is going too quick, just go ahead and stop, rewind, pause, and then study, and then move forward. So that's what's nice with the video format. So again, let's talk about white sage. With white sage, its characteristics is the leaf's almost completely white, and it does have a very strong odor. The adaptations that the white leaf reflects a great majority of the heat and the light. So if you take a look down here, if you remember that white light is made of Roy G. Biv, right? And you've got a black billiard ball, a red billiard ball, and a white billiard ball. Right here, the black is absorbing all the wavelengths, so it's going to absorb the energy and heat up. Right here, the red is absorbing all of them except some of the reds, which get reflected back to your eye, and then you perceive this as a red billiard ball. And right here, the white is reflecting all of the wavelengths back to your eye, and you're perceiving this as being white. And again, when that happens with a leaf, it's going to keep it a lot cooler than a darker leaf. Also, according to the Academy of California Academy of Sciences, strong smelling odors evaporate to help cool the plant, kind of like us as humans when we sweat, and that evaporates, it takes energy with it, and it cools our skin. Chamise. Chamise has its characteristics. It's got the small leaves and the waxy coating. The small leaves are efficient at shedding heat, and the small leaves mean there's going to be less surface area and fewer pores from which water can evaporate or transpirate out of. Also, the waxy coating is going to help keep the moisture inside the plant. So if you look at these diagram here, we've got, if you remember, this is a guard cell here and here. We looked at those underneath the microscope when we dissected the skin of I think it was an ice plant. And then the opening is called stomata. Good. And that's where the plant will be taking the CO2 in, or water vapor and oxygen would leave the plant. And then right here, this paper cup has a waxy coating on the outside, kind of an example of how the paper cup, when it has wax, it was able to keep the moisture, the water in the cup more efficiently. Then we have our scrub oak, small leaves, and again, has the small leaves, and they're really good at shedding the heat. The coast live oak has the spines around the margin, leaf margin, which deters animals from eating it, trying to get the water and the nutrients out of the leaves. Daughter's vine, or other known as witch's hair. This is one of my favorite. It looks like, when you see it in the spring, it looks like silly string all over the host plant, usually like a laurel-leaf sumac or a California buckwheat. It receives all of its nutrients from twining around the photosynthetic part of the plant, and it has these little projections or little protrusions, what do we call it, little rods that will pierce the tissue, and then those will be able to suck out the nutrients from the plant itself. This is Yorba Santa, again, light colored leaf, but they're really soft. They have these little hairs all over them. They have white hairs coating the surface of the leaf. If you zoom in, you can see these little white hairs. This was taken by a student, I think Karen, with her iPhone in class when we were doing our lab. Yorba Santa, the white color reflects the light. Hairs will actually provide shade, some shade, and the hairs reduce, scientists believe, reduce the flow of air over the surface of the leaf to reduce transpiration. Manzanita. Again, I brought some of that in, but I have very little on our property, so I just brought a little piece in. If you remember it did have the berries with it. But if there's not enough water, it has the ability to kill off some of those branches and then just bring water to other branches, keep the plant alive, and then when there's more water available, can bring those branches back alive, bring them back from the dead. It's pretty cool, the resurrection plant, right? And the California buckwheat, let's take a look here. It's got, again, the small leaves, waxy coating. You can see the tiny little leaves in here as its flowers. And its adaptations, again, they're efficient. The small leaves are efficient at shedding the heat and less surface area and the waxy coating, as with many of the chaparral plants. Sticky monkey flower. Sticky monkey flower is really cool. The leaf edge curls under, so they're very long and cylindrical, but they'll curl under, and that so that's one of their characteristics. And also they have a sticky resin on their leaves, thus sticky monkey flower. The curling of the leaf causes the leaf to actually shade itself, so they kind of curl in, less surface area, and they can stay cool that way. And the sticky resin prevents larvae from eating the plant. So that's another one of their adaptations. Laurel leaf sumac. These leaves form the shape of a taco shell during the middle of the day to minimize sun exposure. So if you look at this photo here, you can see it looks like a little taco. That's why it's also known as the taco plant here. But in the morning and the afternoon, it will flatten back out. So it's only during the midday. And I think this is our last one, the Chaparral yucca, or also known as Our Lord's Candle. They have pokey leaves that deter animals from eating their leaves to get the water. They have a basal rosette leaf structure. It's kind of on a spiral that helps shade the lower leaves. And then they have a waxy coating to hold in water. Now, I remember that I would always be taking my daughter on hikes on Mount Woodson, and we would see a lot of these yuccas. And in 2012, we were hiking around. Here's a laurel leaf sumac, or a Yorba Santa leaf. And she's like, hey, Dad, why is this leaf so fuzzy? And then she'd be looking at this flower. Hey, Dad, what's this bumblebee? What's this bee doing in this flower? Hey, Dad, why are these things so sharp and pokey? You think it would hurt my eye if it poked? She just asked a lot of questions. Right? That's what scientists should be doing, little kids do. Middle school students should be asking a lot of questions as well. Hey, Dad, what's this little watermelon? That came from a yucca. Hey, Dad, if Mom sees this picture, do you think she's going to get mad? Laying on the potato chip rock? Probably. Hey, Dad, what's this? Well, that's a yucca. Why is this one curvy like this? Why is this one so tall? And so by asking all these questions, she, I think, was in maybe 4th grade at the time. She came up with the question of, I wonder how fast they grow. They seem to be growing really fast. So that came to the Yucca Project of May of 2012. So we found a yucca on our property, and they wanted to measure it every single day. So we found one that was 55 centimeters. So this is day 1. So go ahead and take a look at day 2. It's 70. It grew 15 centimeters in one day. Take a look then. Day 3, it's 84. That was 14 centimeters. Day 4, 99 centimeters. Day 5, 115. Day 6, 134. Day 7, 150 centimeters. And then I've got day 9 here, 185 centimeters. Day 10, 199 centimeters. And it's averaging, if you look down here, about 14 to 16 centimeters a day. That's really close to 6 inches a day. So by day 10, Zoe had to be on a ladder to measure this right here. So I'm going to zip through these really quick. Day 11, day 11 and a half, I think it was day 12, 13, and then they wanted to start measuring at night. Day 14, day 15, 16, and I think we measured it, or they measured it for 31 days, topped out at 266 centimeters in 31 days, and it was growing an average of about 15 to 16 centimeters a day. They also concluded that it was growing faster during the day than at night. The big point with this, too, is that you should have fun doing science. They had a great time doing this project. So I want to check for your understanding. So go ahead and take a look right here and see if you can identify all these plants. A, B, C. Go through and see if you can identify all these plants. And then once you think that you have been able to identify those correctly, then what are their special characteristics, each of the plants? And then what are their adaptations that help them thrive in an environment that has very little water and very intense heat and frequent wildfires. So go ahead, pause the video right now, get out your notes, and see if you can identify those plants. All right, now that I am back, I'm just curious how you did. So A would be daughter's vine or witch's hair. B would be California cucumber. C is a gall from a scrub oak. D is the laurel leaf sumac or a taco plant. E is Yorba Santa. This is the coast live oak. F, G, white sage. H, with these little berries that belong to leaf H, manzanita. I, California buckwheat. J would be chamise. And we've got down here a yellow and looks like red monkey flower, sticky monkey flower. We have N, the flower from our Lord's candle or the yucca, right? And they're edible. I would be careful though. You might have allergic reaction. Don't eat those, all right? So shouldn't say that. But they have been eaten in the past by, all right. And what is this? O is the seed pod that Zoe was holding up that looked like a little watermelon. And that right here is that's developing right in here. And then last P would be a California cucumber. So Chaparral plant review adaptation. Hopefully you have a better understanding of their characteristics and adaptations to help them thrive in the chaparral environment. And I hope that was helpful.